All right, we are here. The champ is in the house.
The champ is here.
Ahmed Muhamed, fresh off winning the 5K national champion here in New York City. How are you feeling?
I feel good, man. I feel really good.
I bet.
I love running in the streets of New York, and I was fourth and 2 years ago and second last year. So this is the only upgrade we could have done. And
Yeah.
it worked out today. So
Second national title for you?
yes, I did the AK 3.5 months ago, and that was my first title. And then to come back here after 3 months of just really base building is great.
It's a weird time to be fit, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we're strength fit. I don't think we're sharp fit, which is good. We've just been building a lot of mileage and just really, we did our first VO2 work like last Friday. And so it's good to be just back here and you know, race again. But yeah, strength fit for sure.
Haven't even done speed work.
You know what? I won't say that. You're not gonna catch me lacking. You're not gonna catch me lacking. I feel like everybody says that, but no, what we do in our program is we always try to keep everything together. And so every Monday we're working on the drills and we're working on some hill, 10-second sprints. So I think, really second week back to the base building, we were doing speed work, if you're gonna call it that. But I wouldn't say I didn't do any speed work.
Did the race kind of play out how you thought it would today?
Almost. It almost did. I feel like you have all these expectations coming in, and then all of that just changed over time. And I expected the first mile to be a little bit faster, maybe, but the first 800 meters, I got shocked. I was like, oh man, if we're going this pace, we're going to be burning. And then
Do you have some words with Bia about that after the race? Like, why'd you do this, man?
No, I expected Bia and Hillary to be the two kind of pushing. And then with Hillary, training with Anthony Rotich, I'm thinking, yeah, he's going to have a partner there. But they took it out and they were pushing it, and then they just hit the brakes, and I found myself at the front. I'm like, all right, what do I do now? So it almost played out, but for me, I wanted to make the race as honest as possible. I didn't want it to come down to a kick. Even though I do believe in my speed work, there were milers in that race, and so I wanted to make it as honest as possible, and I think strength was the key for that. So.
Were you planning on making such a decisive move? Were you watching the pace lag? Did you just try to test it a little bit, or did you just slam the door shut on everybody else?
There was a couple of times where I was like, all right, I find myself at the front, and it's like, I think Drew Boss is right next to me, and I'm like, why is nobody coming around me? Why is nobody pushing this, right? And I found myself in the lead a couple of times, and I was like, nah, at some point, I think it's just going to be me. And I had to do it. And when I made the move, I was just praying. People were falling back, and I somehow found myself in the lead, and the camera was just on me. And I'm like, all right, this is cool. Let's do it. So we just kept rolling. And I was just praying that nobody had that last kick. And I saw some people coming up on me at the end, but I was like, nah, we're just gonna look at the finish line and finish.
It's the Ahmed show.
That's what we were hoping for.
Yeah.
The last mile I knew that last mile was going to be this is the first race. If you look back at my all career, really in general, this is the first race where you'll see me leading, except for maybe high school back in the day, when I knew I was kind of the favorite in some smaller fields. This is the first pro race where I actually make decisions that was to just test the reality. Because sometimes I feel like you just have this belief that you're so good, you're so ready, and then that reality gets gut checked with the fact that maybe other guys are more ready than you think they were. And so I just wanted to say, you know what, let's just see what the strength was all about, because we've been building a lot of strength. This is the most mileage I've ever hit in my life by far, and the most consistent I've been. And so it was a good time to test it, and it stuck today.
You've been right there for the win in a lot of races. You've run fast times before, but this is probably your most high-profile win. Does it feel like that? Did it feel like a big win out there today?
Absolutely. I think the biggest win for me is the fact that I took the lead and I somehow pulled off a win. I think that is a new territory for me. You see me, and if you go look all the other races I've been part of, it's like I'm there and people are talking about me, but I'm kind of like 6, 7, 5, 4. I was second last year here. But I think the biggest win isn't necessarily, in my opinion, the race. It's like me getting out of my comfort zone a little more, because I feel like that's something that we're gonna have to try more of if we're gonna try to do, make teams and win races. I think you just gotta get out and and kind of execute your own race. And I think, yeah, that's my biggest win for sure. Yeah.
Is there anything in particular that inspires this new confidence to take the lead in races?
I think at one point, I had this crazy self-belief, even in high school, that I was really, really good. And then I think I was like 44th at NXN Nationals. And that belief was challenged so many times since, right? And I feel like that belief that I have, which is just so high up right there, and then the reality of where I've been finishing so many the last couple years, have been just so many, like, I feel like whole lot of development in a way. If I want to really develop and if I want to be inspired to, reach the goals that I know I'm capable of reaching, it's going to require me to do things that I have not done in the past. And I feel like I just kept doing the same thing over and over in the past, where I'm just coming top 3, top 4, top 5. And sometimes I was satisfied with that. And I think if you want to be a champion, you can't be satisfied with that.
I feel like that's part of the team culture with NAZ, because like we sat here yesterday with Footsum and with Wesley, and then Wesley at one point just says, he's like, no, I think I could win. And I was like,
Yeah.
Tamarat Tola's in the race, like Olympic champion. He's like, no, he's like, you can't go into a race thinking, oh, my best day could be finishing second or third or top 5. He's like, I want to think that I can win this race. So what is it about the team culture with NAZ where you guys all have that similar mindset?
Absolutely. I think one thing we do really, really well is to inspire each other. That is, some of my teammates just hit 40 years old, man. Like, they've been around the block, for certain years. You know what I mean? Like, I was in high school when they were running professional. You know what I mean?
Hey, take it easy. They're probably listening to this.
No. They know they
They're
inspire
getting
me.
in bed.
No. I'm never kidding. Like, there are days when I'm like, I want to run with this individual because they've been around the block a lot longer than I have, and they learn.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. There's runs where I specifically choose one person. I'm like, I want to run with you and learn from you. And so it's I think just the experience we have. I feel like this is my first year on the team, right? Like, first year done actually, but second year on the team. And we have guys and girls who are just so good at what they do and have been doing it for so long that I feel like the culture is just getting to a point where it's like the expectations are getting high, but I feel like our belief is also just growing as much. And that's...
Yeah. So I guess, like, in your story, right? Like, I feel like I want to get it out there more, just how, you at Boise State, Florida State, that self-belief that you had in yourself, like, how strong was that in college when, like, maybe sometimes you didn't get the results, and then coming out of college unattached for like a whole year, right? And then you finally get your moment to sign a pro contract, and now you're finally settling into this team and finding success. Like, I'm looking at your stats from this year: 1500 PR, mile PR, 3K PR, 5K PR, 2 national titles, world cross country. Like, things are clicking now. Is this what you always believed was the path?
Yes. And like I said, there's been many times where I got punched in the gut and it's like, nah, you're not as good as you think you are. And I think that was the message sometimes that I got, right? And I remember when I was on a sponsor this past year, there was a race that I had the high school national record holder chasing me down in the home stretch in a 5K, and I paid for this, flight and hotel, and when I calculated, it was like $1,200 expense, right, in LA, right, and then I go back to the hotel, and I am just there, just like it felt like I was going like this, and then it was like, right, just downhill like crazy. I think finally what happened is I've been surrounded with great people. I think in the end, no matter how driven you are, no matter how much you believe in yourself, you're going to need a system that works for you. And I have amazing coaches who truly care about me as a person before they do as an athlete. And that was me at Boise State. I had great people around me. Florida State, I always told my coach at Bremen, I always told him, hey, I wanted to come and get my master's degree paid for, really. Like, I was still going to show up every day to practice and show up and work hard. But I think right before COVID hit around that time, that self-belief that I had kind of diminished a little bit to a point where I'm like, all right, let me get my master's degree and then maybe go into workforce, and maybe the professional career wasn't a vision. And then somehow, some way, there were just a couple races that kind of made me believe more, and then here we are today.
What's the master's degree in?
International affairs. So running in front of the United Nations. I took a whole course on the United Nations, and international affairs. I consider myself as a global citizen, and I follow a lot of what was happening around the world, and all the things that are happening, and international affairs.
Yeah, these are the best stories. Like stories like you, where you keep confidence in yourself and you keep showing up, you keep putting yourself on the line, and eventually you're going to have these huge breakthrough moments. What are these goals coming up for the rest of the year look like for you?
Just more risk taking. I feel like sometimes it's just pretty easy to get comfortable and get kind of, I guess, just complacent in the where you are, and so I want to do things that I think that's what all of us runners really desire, is just like reach new heights, and you guys can all agree to this, right? Like I feel like the goals that I have for myself are in a way pretty similar to what they've always been, right? Just keep testing what the limits are, which I genuinely don't think I've reached, and I'm near anywhere close to it. But I also think just keep that self-belief, but in the same way, take risks, because I feel like sometimes you could just kind of find a good spot and you're like, all right, this is good until my career is over. But I just want to keep testing the body and see where the mind and the body can go.
You're going to do indoors?
No, I'm from the way it's looking like my wife and I are going on honeymoon in December, and
Nice.
yeah,
Congratulations.
Thank you. And we're gonna go to East Africa. We're gonna go to Ethiopia, Kenya, Somalia, and then so we're gonna have some downtime there. And then January I'll come back to the States again and just build back up. And I think we'll do the 10 sound running and try to get the standard. Hopefully.
Yeah, I guess like for you, the 10K, you've got that PR 27:56 from last year. What's the hope after all of this momentum this year? You got down to 13:08 in the 5K.
Yeah, I think at some point I did 2 10Ks on the track in my life. So,
Yeah.
so I tried to get away from college.
The first one and then the DNF.
Second one, yeah. I tried to get away from doing the 10K in college, and then Bremen was like, hey, ACCs, you might win a title. And somehow we pulled up a title, and that was the first sub 29, and then we did sub 28. So I think it'd be great to get another minute down, maybe.
Wow.
Right? Like,
Why
I think
not?
That would be
why
great.
not? Why not?
Why not?
Why not? I know I'm capable of it, but it's just going to be obviously what we do and how things are looking in the next couple months, and hopefully the standard, and then trying to make the team and just keep competing.
Yeah. What was it like, I guess, putting on the USA kit at World Cross this year?
Man, it's so incredible. I feel like so I came here as a refugee in end of 2011, and a lot of when I was in high school, I looked up to all of you guys actually, and
Especially Eric.
I mean, anytime I saw these pros showing up to the any of our meets, there was NXN Nationals. Galen and Mo were there, and I remember going out the first mile really hot because I wanted to impress them. I'm like, hey, yo, I'm here. I want y'all
Yeah.
to see this, right? and then I paid the price for it the last mile, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like you go from you grow from this place where it's like you have this imposter syndrome of just kind of like assimilating to a new country, assimilating to a new environment, finding a new sport, and trying to like mingle into that as well. And I think now representing a country that has welcomed me with open arms and has given me so many opportunities in life, it was just, I feel like, one of my proudest moments for sure in the running thing, because at some point, like, the results get out of the window. At some points there is other things that have meanings, that carry meanings in life and in the running world, that I feel like a lot of us kind of overlook sometimes. For me to represent a country this big, that I came here as a refugee, and now I get to greatly, say, hey, I'm here as an American athlete. I was very proud. I really was.
I'm ready to run through a brick wall after that.
Yeah, seriously, yeah.
Stop it, guys.
I'm
Stop
like,
it.
my eyes are getting misty. Like, can I say that I need a poster of you for my wall? Like, I am such a fan of you.
Oh, stop it.
Yeah,
Stop
you
it.
are
Yeah.
such an
Oh, my
amazing
days.
person.
Oh, my God. Thank you. Thank you so much. That makes my day. It really does. Thank you.
One of the fun questions I asked your teammates yesterday was Flagstaff. Like, obviously, there's a lot of lore of like crazy workouts, right? Like Abdirahman on the A1 loop, Ed
the big men.
Chesrek.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What's the craziest one you've ever heard of? And then also, what's the workout you're most proud of that you've accomplished in Flagstaff?
Oh, man. Craziest I've heard of. I think, so Buffalo Park is one of the places I really respect. And I think Tyler...
place.
Terrible place. Buffalo Park has my soul just on the side of the road.
No, it does.
Hard to
Yeah,
run,
yeah.
hard to run fast in
Yeah.
Buffalo Park.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I heard Tyler Day told me back in their NAU days, I think he averaged like, maybe 9 or 10 miles at like 5 flat there.
Yeah.
What?
And I was like, are you kidding me, right? And honestly, Tyler Day, my boy, shout out to you. Because I actually trained with him a little bit at the beginning of this fall. And I did my first session at the threshold. I was doing 5 miles, he was doing 8. And the first mile I asked this guy, I'm like, hey, because there's 2 big hills you can go up, right? One of them is a killer and the other one is like, it's not bad. Yeah. And I'm like, hey, are we going up the big hill or the small hill? And he goes, what are you here for, Ahmed? and like in the middle, that was the first mile, and my mindset just shifted in a way that honestly I'm inspired to this day, right? It's like, all right, like we're going up the big hill for sure. And so we go up this big hill. We go up this big hill and we paid the price. I mean, I paid the price for it, but he was so good at it. And I think what I learned from the guy is just like his mental, I guess, mental strength is just in another world. And for me, I got inspired by that. And then I did 4x3 mile tempo, which is I've done before that, leading up to that moment, I've done 9 mile tempo was the longest I've ever done.
Wow.
So we do 9 mile tempo in Camp Verde, which is 3,500 or whatever, like a lot lower. And then 2 weeks later, we go, up to Buffalo, and I did 4x3 miles. And the first 3 times sets, we go up the big hill, and that was so painful that coach asked me, he's like, hey, how we doing? I'm like, all right, I'm going up like really, really high. And then he goes, all right, let's get rid of the big hill. And so we did this small one. But that was
What would
probably...
Tyler Day say?
Yeah.
See, he doesn't know. He doesn't need to know that. He doesn't need to know that.
Coach, I'm going up the big hill. And all
Well, I did the first 3 sets.
Yeah,
so
yeah, that's
nine
legit.
miles
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
9 miles
yeah.
too long.
Yeah.
So I would say that's for sure. For sure.
I love that. Being here for marathon weekend, does the thought cross your mind? It's like someday, like 26.2, you give it a shot.
You know, what's interesting is when Ben Rosario first time was recruiting me out of Florida State, I told him I couldn't see myself on the roads as soon. And not only him, but a lot of the other brands that I was talking to, I told them, yeah, like I can't. There was brands that wanted me to do the marathon the following year. And I'm like, no, I am not doing that. Or I guess coaches, right? And I remember telling Ben Rosario, yeah, I want to stay on the track for as long as possible, and then I'll move to the roads. And then, things didn't work out first time round, and I'm sponsored, and I do the 10-mile Twin Cities. Mm-hmm. That was my first pro race, man.
Wow,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
And,
Right to the roads.
Right to the roads. So,
Just as we planned it.
so I always, exactly. Yeah. All of it was part of the plan, but it really wasn't. But so I think sometimes you just, you find yourself saying, you know what, I want more. And I feel like that's why we as runners are just crazy, right? It's
Yeah.
like, we just want to see what we can do. And I think the curiosity that comes with this sport is just like, oh my God, let's do it. And so, yeah, 100%.
Wow.
We're going to do a marathon.
Yeah, there we go.
It might
You
not
heard
be
it here first.
Until the next Olympic cycle. But I used to say never. And so never say never is really a true case here. And I always say, I was telling my teammates, like the New York weekend is like when I get to do the 5K, it's like a little cheat code where I get to experience the whole marathon experience, but I'm not running 26 miles. So, so here we are. We're doing 3 miles instead. Let's do it.
Yeah.
How are you celebrating this title?
Honestly, I think this title is probably the first time I tested myself in a way that I didn't, and I haven't done before, where it's like I said, if you look at all the previous races, you don't see me leading. This race, I was like, let's do it. And if I did not win this race, I don't think I would have been as disappointed, because I actually said, you know what, I'm going to do what I desire to do. And so this race is huge for me, and in a way, kind of like what my future, goals are. And the celebration-wise, like I said, honeymoon, and my wife and I are hosting a race back in my hometown in Ethiopia, and that race is gonna be, I think, the highlight for sure of this next few months. But I'm just gonna have time to reflect on this and say, you know what, like, I guess maybe sometimes when you take risks, it could pay off. And celebration-wise, the honeymoon, man.
Yeah.
There we go.
Maybe buy your wife something on Fifth Avenue.
Yeah.
See, I need to do that.
Yeah.
I need to
Prize
buy her
money you
something.
just got.
Well,
Yeah.
see, the prize money I don't get it until for
It's not going to hit the bank
weeks.
account for
It's
a while,
not
but
gonna
yeah. Take it easy.
I don't get paid fast, but
Yeah.
no. She's here. She just got me some burrito from Chipotle
Oh.
on the way here, and I
That's love.
I ate
Yeah.
on the walk here, so she's definitely gonna get something nice for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right.
Absolutely.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah,
Thanks
congrats.
for popping by.
Thank you,
And
guys.
we're looking forward to everything you've got in store with all this momentum from
Th-
2024.
Thank you. And one last request. We have a big fan of NAZ Elite, Joseph Jonathan, who commented in the CITIUS mag.
That's right, the
and
singlets.
I'm trying to grab one for him.
One of these.
If that's okay with you
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
I could.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
All
And
right.
you can take one yourself. We need the champ out.
are you
rocking
kidding
it
me?
all.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. Thank you
Yeah.
guys. Awesome.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you so much.
Thanks for stopping by.
Congratulations.
Guys, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Sweet.